What we're looking at here to start off with is a piece of work called Parabolic Currents. This work is, in a way, an homage to my father. My dad used to work for General Electric as a light bulb engineer. He used to actually design them. The work itself is controlled up top here by a microcontroller. The great thing about this is it was done in collaboration with Mark Sutherland, who was one of our technicians at Greenwich. These lights are sometimes in sync, sometimes out of sync. They talk to each other, they play with each other, and sometimes things are isolated and on their own. The structure itself is formed as a type of parabola, and the parabola form came to me from viewing some of my dad's archive materials. Parabola has a lot to do with the way that the light is produced outwards. But for me, that form also became very much about this idea of kind of these arms that come out. So what we have here is this conversation that's happening, this choreographed kind of scenario. In the back, we have a piece of work called Rex's Erection. It is filmed on location at a place called the Cathedral of Tomorrow. It was built by Rex Humbard, who was a televangelist, one of the most famous televangelists in America. And it was meant to house his television station. Working again with one of our students from Greenwich, Calvin Power, to help create some of these animations that are happening. And what I've tried to do is to pick up a little bit of this idea of the parabolas as this force, this movement. And then lastly, within the show, there's another piece of work called A Decelerated Gospel. That work is a sound piece, and you're able to actually listen to that via a QR code. Knowing that we're in COVID, people aren't actually allowed to come inside. But what you're able to do is you're able to listen in. And what this piece of work is, it's a kind of a deconstruction of a 7-inch vinyl prayer record that Rex Humbard had created with his ministries. Suddenly, by taking this prayer and stretching it out, stretching out these vocals, these kind of human voices, we're left with what sounds like a kid learning to play the guitar and trying to do these terrible guitar solos. I've had to adjust a lot of the work to make it sort of work within the space, but also work within the fact that it's going to be viewed from the outside. And I know that we can do that at a safe distance, and it's really important for me if people are out having an exercise, or if people are just coming down to get some food from the Greenwich Market, it's a chance to come in and actually look in and see some art, and actually just shift what it means to kind of be a human on this planet in terms of COVID. A lot of this work here is actually about the distance that I felt with this place where I grew up. And in many ways, that distancing that's happening now is a mirror, is a reflection of kind of what's happening within this space itself. We look at all the filaments very closely. Each one of them is like an individual drawing. None of them are exactly the same. Again, for me, that was a really important part of kind of the making of it. Sometimes to make it explicit is to kill it, right? It kills the poetry of it sometimes. If I was to say it's only about this thing, then suddenly it assigns meaning to it that kind of restricts it. And I'd rather have it be much more open. Even the title of Moribund States is an interesting one, which kind of has a duality or a multiplicity about it, where the word moribund, is referencing things at the state of death or things that are dying. But then the idea of state or states is such an open word. It can be a physical state, it can be a state of being, it could be a mental state. It's like all of those things are within that. So oftentimes I think that title, by using a language, tries to open it back up to something else.